Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me on another weekly garden update. This week I am showing you what I did in June with all of the tomato plants. I was trying this year to be more patient with my tomatoes and prune less often. And I don't necessarily single stem my tomatoes. If the size of the fruit look healthy and it's not struggling, I'll let it do 2 or 3 production stems. But I don't want to have the limbs running into each other. So I'm pruning my plants that were the older ones that I had planted out at the beginning of May. They're doing really good and they had fruit by this time that I pruned them. The second wave of tomatoes that I planted towards the end of May, beginning of June, look like they're just about as big as the tomatoes that I planted at the beginning of May. Some of these already have fruit set on them. This is the Great White, and it has fruit down here. It has some fruit here. The Black Beauty in front of me also set fruit, and the Sart Rolwa, hope I'm saying that right, that is also setting fruit. This one I'm most excited for because it'll be white with purple hints instead of like the Black Beauty, which is all purple with some reddish hints. I planted some backup tomatoes because I thought I was losing some tomatoes early in the season, and I ended up planting out these two over by where the carrots are, and I planted 2 more over where I intend to have the cucumbers. I hope that since these are going to grow upwards, the cucumbers don't smother them, but it will be interesting to see how the tomatoes fare up against all the cucumbers I plan to put out. The tomatoes that I planted about a week ago here after the turnips and beets came out are taking off. They're getting taller and actually starting to develop flowers. I gave them their own little trellis and a leftover carrot, which I'm letting go to seed. I've got 2 in that bed over there. Planted 2 more. I'm going to be doing a string trellis as I don't have any more wiring. But the reason that these kind of look funny, this is the Abe that I cloned, and it was bigger, but that I used part of the Abe for grafting. So I took that off right here. It has this stem and it has this stem to grow from. So I did a successful cloning, and now we'll see what happens after I graft it. And the Brandywine I cut the top from, but it had 2 places over here where it can still grow from. With those 2 tomatoes that I just showed you, this is the grafting content that I recorded. I believe my attempt was a cleft graft where you split the donor plant right down the middle in the stem, and then you cut the top off of the plant that you want to get the benefit of the root system. You cut it into a wedge shape at the base after you cut it, and then you insert it into the other base of what's going to be your root system. So before I had done anything, I did have 3 offshoots here that I saved, and that's why I replanted both the Jubilee and the Abe, because it was one, I can't let any plant die. Once it's growing and it's healthy, I want to plant it and see it set fruit. So I ended up taking these 2 and planting them out unexpectedly in the garden. Hopefully they do well out there. Unfortunately, my grafting experiment did not work. The first couple of days, this is what they looked like at day 4. On day 4, they looked really well. I did spray them every day, made sure to spray inside, and it did get humid inside of my homemade humidity domes. But one day, just one day, I forgot, and then they started to droop. And some of the rootstock on this one tried to grow instead of the actual grafted area growing. So I only had two that I tried, and I was unsuccessful this season. My goal is to try again next season, because these particular seeds that I use as rootstock are meant to be used this particular way. You don't really care about the fruit for them, and they can help the tomato be more disease resistant. I'm a bit disheartened that it didn't work out, but I'm not discouraged, and we'll try again next year. The update. Thank you so much for sticking with me to the end. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching.